Hello and Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Shahmi bin Muhammad Haris. We are from Group 9, Section 3 for Contract and Estimation Cost. This is my group members, me myself Muhammad Shahmi, Michelle Pangini, Muhammad Kamalul Abra, Avni Nur Hakimah and Nur Fitrah Nadira. Today we are going to present our group project.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Kamal Abdul Rahman and my ticket number is AF1906. So now I will continue with the bit of quantity. So this is the table that shows the work below lowest floor finish. So the concrete that we use in this project is concrete grade 15. And this table show the work for the pile cap. And this show the high tensile road reinforcement as described. This is for the amount. Amount is the quantity times rate in ringgit Malaysia. So the total cost that we use is 18,945 ringgit 45 sen.
Okay, now we will find the floor area method based on the ground floor layout. We will find the floor area method for lot AD56, which is our brick wall thickness and cement plastic is 150 mm, and our average cost of commercial shop per meter square is 1,500 ringgit per meter square. And so the solution is we will find the total floor area, which is length multiply with width, and then after we find the total floor area, we will find the total cost, which is the total floor area we will multiply with the average cost of commercial shop per meter square, and then we've got the answer.
Volume method. The building volume method is specific for building project and aims to overcome the current criticism to the floor area method that does not take into account possible variation of the story height, where building costs are often expressed in cubic meters price. The total cost of the project will be given by total cost equal cost per cubic meter times total project volume. In order to use this method, the building volume must be first assessed. Building with distinct type of occupation should have corresponding volume assessed separately. For example, car park areas, shopping areas, and office areas in a commercial building. Specific work like excavations, foundations, and external work ought to be assessed separately by using cost comparisons or approximate quantities. For example, cost per cubic meter may be difficult to find in countries where the method is not current, but costs depend on a number of variables like building types, proportion of wall area per floor area, quality of finishes, and so on. So this is the lot of commercial shop, the site elevation. The average cost of commercial shop per meter cube is RM 330. So we get the volume of the shop and then the cost for the commercial shop.
Hai, Assalamualaikum. My name is Avni Nur Hakimah binti Abdul Halim with metric number AF190272. So I'm going to present about quantity measurement or taking off. So the first is foundations. So about foundation, our description is the concrete building grade 15. So the concrete building grade 15 binding N.E 100mm THK. Okay, so the first spec footing, which F1 have the times width is 5 and dimension 1.7, 1.7 and 0.05. So the result for the first spec footing is 0.7225 meter, which is the same as quantity. While for the second spec footing with the times of 3, with the dimension of 1.06, 1.06 and 0.05, the result will be 0.384. with the same quantity as 0.384 meter. So the final result for foundations, we have 5 pad footings with the times of 4. So the dimension will be 0.6, 0.6 and 0.05 with the result of 0.072 for pad footing 5. So the result for the foundation will be, so the sum up for the result will be 1.755 meter cube. Okay, so the second taking off is for formwork. So the description of formwork for pile caps and for to edge and face of foundation access 250 such with 500 millimeter height. So the first pad footing with the times of 5 and dimension of 6.8, the result will be 34 because the line side is 1.7, and for the second pad footing the result is 19.2. So the final result for formwork after the sum up of the result will be 109.2 meter. So the third taking off is reinforcement. So the description for reinforcement is height tensile reinforcement bar in foundation using 200 mm dia steel, dia and steel is 3.86 kilogram per meter. So the first pad footing with the length of 1.7 and the length cover is 2 divided by 0.04, which is the length equal to 0.08 with the add band with the times 5, 12 and 2. So the dimension 1.848. So the result will be 221.76 meter with the same as quantity, which is 221.76 meter quantity. So the final result of reinforcement, we have all of the pad footing is equal to 5, and the sum out of the result is 543.144 meter. So the next taking off is concrete. So this description for concrete is we use concrete grade 30 in foundation. So the first pad footing, the times are 5 with dimension 1.7, 1.7 and 0.25. So the result for first pad footing is 3.615, which is the same as quantity 3.615 meter. And the final result for concrete is after the sum of the result is 8.7775 meter cube. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, now we will proceed to the build-up rate for 1 meter cube soil excavation. Which will need the important information like the rate for worker salary for 1 8-hour working per day. Soil excavation not exceeding the 1.5 meter depth. Soil excavation exceeding 1.5 meter depth but not exceeding 3 meter depth. Spreading up soil in making up level surface to receive pad footing, filling in and laying soil, cutting away remainder load, typical and expansion and profit. And then we will also net the total depth of excavation. Then we will need to find the volume of excavation which not exceed 1.5 meter, and for volume of excavation that exceed the 1.5 meter. And then we will find the cost for the volume, and then cost that spread up in making up level surface to receive pad footing. Okay, so after that we will find the profit, and then we will sum up the profit to get the total profit, and then we will find the rate for 1 meter cube soil excavation by knowing the total labor cost and total profit, and then we will sum up the total labor cost and total profit to get the rate for 1 meter cube for soil excavation.
So next for the build-up rate calculation for 1 meter cube of selected concrete grade using concrete mixer. So there are 3 costs that we use in build-up rate calculation for 1 meter cube of selected concrete grade using the concrete mixer. So the first one is material cost, and the second one is labor cost, and the third one is machine cost. So this is for the material cost. The total of material cost for 3 meter cube of concrete is 211 ringgit. After that, we add 50% of wastage, which is 105 ringgit and 50 cent. So the total cost for 3 meter cube of concrete is 360 ringgit and 50 cent. However, for the 1 meter cube of concrete is 211 ringgit per meter cube. So this is for the labor cost. So man hour to produce 1 meter cube of concrete, because that 2 hours times 50 ringgit over 8 hours. So the total is 12 ringgit and 50 cent. So next for the machine cost, the rental rate for concrete mixer including the maintenance for 1 day cost 90 ringgit. Therefore for the rate for 1 hour is 11 ringgit and 25 cent. Payment for 6 laborers in handling the concrete mixer are 37 ringgit and 50 cent. So the total mixed concrete rental cost and the labor cost for handling the machine are 48 ringgit and 75 cent.
Now we move to the amount of performance bond. First, the prime cost sum value we can get from our bill quantities, 12,190 ringgit and 56 cent. Second, the preliminary sum value we can get from the total both rate for 1 meter cube soil excavation and build up rate calculation for 1 meter cube of selected concrete grade using concrete mixer. We got 110 ringgit and 69 cent for our preliminary sum value. Third, the contract sum value we get by total both prime cost and preliminary sum. We got 12,301 ringgit and 25 cent. And finally, we can calculate the performance bond by using this formula, 5% multiplied with our contract sum, and we got 915 ringgit and 6 cent. Okay, now we move on to the amount of liquidated ascertained damage (LAD) per day. Our company is under Maybank loan with base lending rate BLR of 5.65%. So by using the LAD formula, the percentage of BLR, which is the 5.65%, need to multiply with our contract sum from the previous slide, which is 12,301 ringgit and 25 cent, and we got the value of 1 ringgit and 90 cent per day.